Hey there everyone, Steve Gonza, physical therapist who runs Smart Online, and for the last decade I've been helping runners tweak their run form, get over injuries, and do these things. I want to share something with you. It's all about heel striking and run form. That is a big topic a lot, and I'm going to talk about what's called tapping the brakes. And this is something that's going to slow you down, it's going to get you injured, and overall, if you can fix this, it's going to really help you improve your running. And if you're looking to run for the next 5, 10, 15 years, definitely take a listen here. Before I forget, if you like what I'm talking about, you want to learn more, go to the midfootproject.com. We're going to be helping runners get off their heels and onto their midfoot in a 5-week course. When I first discovered the importance of run form was about 10 years ago. So I'm a physical therapist, like I said, and I have a runner come into me who is two things, and I think we can all identify with this at some point in our running. She was frustrated because she was constantly, overcoming injuries, and she was disappointed with how her races and her training was going. And again, it's kind of difficult to be able to get results when you're constantly hurt. So this is when I first started getting into looking at run form about 10 years ago, and I'm sitting on the couch at night. My wife's in bed. She's goes to bed early, and I'm a night owl. And I'm just kind of combing through some research, trying to figure out what's out there. This is around 2009, 2010. And I'm just going through some research. I'm just, scouring, what can I find to help this runner? She was going through my head. I collected some video on her, and that's what I'm going to show you here in a minute. But I collected some video on her, and I just couldn't figure out why was this runner constantly hurt. We were doing all the strength stuff, doing all the stuff that you would normally do. There's certainly you should be looking at run form, training, your training plan, strength training, diet, all this stuff. But we're going into the run form piece because that's where I actually found the answers. So I'm going to show you her video. But before I do that, this is actually the article that I came up with. Now, actually, I'm going to go to her first. So let's look at this. So here's the runner I'm actually talking about from a handful of years ago. And we're just going to watch her run. And I want to talk to you guys about something in her stride, in her run form, which really is all about right there. Now, this is something I typically see with a lot of runners. And what it means is that the runner is overreaching, coming out to the front, and hitting her heel first, and her knee is perfectly straight. So let me go ahead and just draw some arrows. Hang with me there. So this straight knee position is what she's doing. And this is really important because this is what I found in her running that was making the big difference. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm thinking, oh my God, look at this. So here, think about this for a second. If you're standing, hopefully maybe you're standing or not, but if you stand up and just put your foot, I'm going to go back to her. I want you to try to stand in this position. You're going to put your heel out to the front, your toes pointing up, and I want you to lift the back leg. And what happens when you lift that back leg? Ooh, almost fall over. You end up falling backwards. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, hey, how can you, physically move yourself down the road when you are anatomically stopping yourself from moving forward? So here's the thing, look at this. It's kind of like you're driving your car down the road and you're just tapping the brakes with every step. So I'm gonna get rid of this line. So this would be a tap of the brakes because all of her forward momentum from this foot is gonna stop. She's gonna stop, and then she's gonna have to restart. She's going to go off and push off on the other foot. And what does she do? She overreaches, she hits her heel, she stops, and she goes through the other foot. And it's this constant start and stop motion in her run form that is completely counter-inhibitive, or it's very inhibitive to moving forward. So imagine, again, driving your car down the road. Most runners take about 80 steps a minute, and they just tap, they take 80 steps a minute. So if you're in the car, imagine tapping your brakes 160 times a minute because it's 80 times per leg. How inefficient is that? How would that feel to your body? Not great, right? So it's very difficult to be able to get results in your running when this is what's happening. I want to show you, this is when I was going through her running and I'm like, oh my God, look at this. How can we expect this runner to get better? Again, this is 10 years ago. Run form was just coming on the scene. Born to Run was just written. I want to show you an article that actually is from 2010. And let me pull that up. Let's see. Forefoot strike patterns and collision forces in habitual barefoot versus shod runners. And I just want to show, I'm not going to be focused in on the barefoot side so much. Let's see, I'm going to try to zoom in here. I want you to look at this right here, right in here, if you can see this. You see how this is the point where someone impacts, and look at how much force is coming on, how quickly. This is a research article that was done. And then you actually get a second impact point. And all that force is happening. Look at the time down here. Very quickly, usually about 5 milliseconds is how long it takes to ramp that on. And this is what's happening with the heel strike. You can see it right here. So with this runner, let's go back to this runner. That's not this runner. When she's hitting the ground, what's happening here is the ground is coming up, it's meeting her, and it's driving her backwards. So the second she contacts the ground, she's going to have this huge spike in force. Then what's going to happen is she's going to go to foot flat, and then she's going to get this extra spike to here, and then as she goes towards push-off, that's where she's going to start losing that force, and it comes back down. Now what happens when she stops on the other side? She does the whole thing over again. She gets this braking force every single stride that she's taken. Now if we look at that, and we actually changed it, it made a huge difference in her running. So if you've ever seen yourself running, you know you do this. It's something that you really should consider missing. Before I forget, if you're interested in learning how we do this, we have a 5-week course at midfootproject.com. But I want to show you the next part, which is that other part of the research article. So look at this. There we go. So I'm going to go down. I want to scroll down a bit here. This is barefoot. Okay, so look at how the force, this line is much smoother and it's more spread out. So this person's getting the initial peak acceleration just after the 0.1. Now look at the peak on the barefoot running and how much longer it is. That is super critical because this is what made a huge difference for this runner. You're gonna, if you don't heel strike, and I'm not even telling you to run barefoot, that phase of running is over. But you can run the similar way with your shoes on, and what it does is it smooths out that curve and it stops you from tapping the brakes on every stride. So look again at this runner real quick. Let's get rid of these old lines. So this is her heel strike pattern, and we're looking at how quickly this ramp is. But when you don't hit your heel and you can learn to midfoot strike, this maximum force takes longer. Let's see, do this. Here's the maximum force in a heel striker. Here's the maximum force in someone who can midfoot strike. So if you're interested in running faster, if you're thinking that you're going to be running for the next 5, 10, 15 years, if you're consistently hurt, if you're not getting the results you want on race day and you're disappointed, consider making this change. The number one thing to do when you're working on run form is to start here. It is the biggest thing that you can do to make a huge shift in your running. Now, if you're interested in learning more about this, you can go to midfootproject.com, and then next month we're going to be launching our 5-week course where we take you exactly through this. We've been working on this with runners for 10 years now. We'll give you the exact drills, trainings, and everything you need to do that. But then, if you have any questions on this, drop them in the comments. I'm going to be going live the whole month of March to help you guys identify what you can do to improve your running and to get off of your heel, because if you're a heel striker, and I'm going to talk a lot about this, you are setting yourself up for failure as a runner. Think about any other sport, swimming. I just did something about skiing. There's technique to these other sports. It's not about just figuring it out. You learn the technique. But for some reason as runners, we think we can just go out, log miles, and put one foot in front of the other. And it often leads to injury and disappointment on race day or in the training. So if you're interested, again, go to midfootproject.com. I'll be around for some questions if you have any. And hopefully this helps you guys get you thinking about changing your run form, because it's a great time of the season to do this before the nice weather comes. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.